Now in every family there's a baby, the one that's not taken all that seriously. And in the Porsche range that has been the Boxster. But now there's an all-new Boxster. We've got our hands on a Boxster S to find out if it's all grown up. The all-new Boxster is very serious about being taken seriously as a sports car. And to achieve this, it has borrowed heavily from its elder brother, the new, bigger 911. And just like the 911, the Boxster's dimensions have grown too. Crucially, the wheelbase is longer, the track is wider, and its height is actually lower. Along with high-strength steel and magnesium, the Boxster also uses a lot of aluminum in its chassis. This helps to make it stiffer and lighter than the outgoing car. It all promises to come together to create a machine that has a solid footprint and yet remains light on its feet. And from my vantage point, everything was coming together beautifully. The seating position was perfect, and the view out of the cabin filled me with confidence. Straight away you'll feel at home in the Boxster. There's nothing intimidating about it. The Boxster's DNA has been altered, but its core remains the same. In true Boxster fashion, the engine is mounted mid-shift. That's just ahead of the rear axle and right behind the driver. And keeping with its Porsche genes, the Boxster uses a flat-six motor. In the Boxster S's case, it is the 3.4-litre direct injection unit that's been borrowed from the 911. And even though it has been detuned, there's 315 bhp of power and 36.7 kilograms of torque that's being channelized to the rear wheels. That should be enough, right? Now it's time to do some calculations. The Boxster weighs less than the 911, it's shorter than the 911, but its wheelbase is longer than the 911, and of course it's lighter than the 911. And also its engine isn't hung over at the back, it's ahead of the rear axle, so it's got better mass centralization. So what do you get when you add all that up? When I add it all up, I get this. The Boxster S was doodling a big fat grin on my podgy face. Bottom and grunt isn't the strong point of this motor. It does have a lot of magic. And it's all stored higher in the rev range. This flat-six motor is absolutely delicious. Above 5,000 RPM, it's truly quick, and it sounds fantastic. The sound that the Boxster makes as it screams to the 7,800 RPM red line is hugely addictive. My life would have a lot of meaning if I could spend the rest of it just hovering around the 7,000 RPM mark on the Boxster. What makes the Boxster all the more fun is the quick-shifting 7-speed PDK gearbox, or in English, dual-clutch gearbox. When you're pushing hard like this, it's quick, it's responsive. I love the way it blips the throttle when you ask for a downshift. And when you're in a civil mood in civil society, you'll find that it's smooth and comfortable and actually quite efficient. The tall gearing lets the Boxster munch kilometers rapidly without giving the impression that it's straining on the leash. The creamy, smooth, flat-six motor will help you relax even more. But I was looking to increase the excitement. Then there's the sport mode for the gearbox, which makes the gear shifts more aggressive, holds the gear longer, just makes it sharper. But there was something about the gearbox that I found terribly annoying. Only thing that took me some time to get used to was the paddle shifters. These are those push-pull things, so it gets a bit confusing. Instead of the steering mounted paddles, you could use the gear lever to make the Boxster unleash its power as you wanted. In a straight line, the Boxster S is capable of hitting a top speed of 277 km per hour. And the dash from 0 to 100 for this PDK equipped Boxster S is dispatched in 4.7 seconds. According to Porsche, that is just 0.3 of a second slower than the 911 Carrera with the 350 bhp and 3.4 litre motor. You really won't bother about that difference once you experience how the Boxster gobbles up corners.
When you talk about chuckable, this is it.
The grip from the 20-inch tires on the Boxster S was simply staggering. There was so much lateral grip that I kept upping the pace around corners, only to find that there was even more grip in store. And the mid-engine chassis creates a poise that inspires confidence and delivers thrills in abundance.
Now around corners, the Boxster is really so balanced. There's none of that understeer dampening progress, worry of oversteer. It just tucks in and goes.
The suspension does a spectacular job of keeping the Boxster on track. The McPherson strut at the front and multi-link setup at the rear just keep soaking up the surface and keep you zipping ahead. A steering bristling with feel has been a Porsche hallmark, but with the new generation of Porsches, things have changed a bit.
Now the old Boxster steering was very feelsome, very grainy, just so tactile. Now the new one has the electromechanical unit, so at the dead-ahead position it feels a bit weak, but still, it is pretty direct and very responsive.
There's no doubt that the Boxster will be a blast to drive on weekends. But what makes it even more fascinating is that it won't be too bad on weekdays, over our fantastic city roads, and through our crazy traffic.
The plus side to the adjustable suspension is that when you're driving normally in the city, you can get a nice flying setup, reasonably comfortable, honestly. Of course, with these large 20-inch wheels, big bumps do tend to thud through.
Nonetheless, the Boxster does an admirable job of soaking up light potholes and bumps. Multiplying the practicality of the Boxster is its electrically operated roof, which can be put into place even while driving at speeds up to 40 km an hour. And even then, it takes only 9 seconds to get some protection from the elements.
You do feel more insulated but not isolated because this is still fabric.
But keeping the roof up would only be taking away from the fun of the Boxster.
But I'd much rather be with the roof down on a drive like this. Adds to the charm.
And you can plan a weekend trip for 2 people in the Boxster. That's because it has a 150-litre boot in the nose. And if that isn't enough, there is a 130-litre boot at the back. You can stash a fair amount of soft luggage in both. The only downside is that the Boxster's cabin doesn't have place even for kids in the back. However, the cabin is littered with materials that ooze quality. All the bits feel like they have been welded together for eternity. And to top it all off, I think the Boxster looks beautiful. Its headlights remind me of the Carrera GT. The scooped sides and air intakes look very impressive. And the downswept rear just looks so attractive with that thin line running across the width and the beautifully detailed tail lamps. All in all, it is a beautiful looking machine, and just like the cabin, it feels like it has been built with care. And the Boxster S's price tag reflects that. At 80 lakh rupees ex-showroom Delhi, it is priced quite steep. With a few options ticked, the price tag can soar quite high. So, is it all worth it? Quite simply, yes. The new Boxster is more serious, more exciting, and very usable for a car with such sporting talent. In this S version, the Boxster is easily the most enjoyable and most desirable roadster in this space. And that's not all. With its new edge in performance, dynamics, and all-round goodness, the new Boxster can stand shoulder to shoulder with its esteemed siblings and even give them a run for their money. Basically, you'll keep driving the Boxster until you're down to the last drop of 97 octane in the tank.
Honestly, I know I have to stop, but I don't want to. Every time I slow down, I think, let's go back to 7,500 RPM. So, shall we?
Don't go away because we've got some mudslinging action from Mahindra's Great Escape, and Hormuz brings you the scoop from Renault.